Well, you guys do Hit 'Em Up, you know, which is iconic hip hop diss record. You know, my opinion, the best. And what was that? What was that like when you guys were making that?
Well, for me, I come from the background of battle rapping, you know what I mean? And so that was strictly about, you know, being at our lyrical best and, you know, making an iconic diss record. And we talked about some of the great diss records before doing Hit 'Em Up that we wanted to, you know, not necessarily emulate, but be as great as, if not greater than. And those records are like, you know, The Bridge Is Over and, you know, No Vaseline from Cube and, you know, some of the other really, really great battle records in hip hop. You know what I mean? We wanted to definitely be put on that list.
Was there 2 versions of the song?
It was.
Okay. So
the version that everybody eventually came to hear and know is actually the second version. It's the remix.
And what was it like when he was recording that outro? Because the outro is crazy. I mean, he's yelling, you know. What were you guys thinking, like, watching him, you know?
Well, for us, we had, you know, Pac was known for talking at the end of his records. You know what I mean? And so, at the time, we weren't really that in tune to everything he was saying at the end of it. It was just another outro. You know what I mean? Me personally, I remember at the time, like, damn, this is a long outro. I know they're gonna fade this out eventually. I was just thinking it was gonna get faded out eventually because, you know, the recording process was his just do the whole song and then, you know, kind of edit back a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because we can't put out 6-7 minute songs. But at that time, this is before Pro Tools and everything, this is when you had Real, so you just did everything until the beat was over. At least that's how we recorded, you know what I mean? We recorded for the whole beat. Most of our records, you could hear vocals from beginning to end. And so it was just another outro to us.
You know, you guys finished this record, and I believe I've heard people say he played it for him. You know, what was people's reaction when he would play it for people?
Most people was, you know, like, uh-oh, type shit.
Were they like telling him not to put it out? Were they telling him to put it out, or?
Nah. Wasn't nobody telling Pac not to put it out. Nobody telling Pac shit. You know what I mean? That was an exercise in futility. He was already pretty clear on what he wanted to do.
And Dr. Dre wanted to be part of the record. That's kind of
But
crazy.
this is the original version that I'm talking about, because the original one that we had did, Dre was still there. Eventually, a few months later, we went and did the remix that eventually came out on the How Do You Want It 2 of America's Most Wanted single, which was our official first single as the Outlaws. We did that after Dre left, that version that everybody hears today. So Dre had never heard that version. He had heard the original one, which was basically a freestyle. It was just all us just going in back to back, Wu-Tang style.
Okay. And I see that you gave all your publishing to the estate for the song.
Yes, we did.
That's pretty dope, man.
Yeah.
What was your motivation for doing that? And, you know what I'm saying, what was that?
Well, the way we looked at it at the time was, you know, it was our way of giving back to not only Tupac, but his mother, who was the head of his estate at that time, and who was trying to secure his copyright.
Okay.
And with us being on so many records, we tipped the scale in his favor. You know what I'm saying? If we did that. You know what I mean? And so eventually that led to the process of her getting his masters back and that whole process. You know what I mean? The Outlaws was actually the ones tipping the scale because we would give Tupac the majority of a song.
Okay. I seen somewhere that Faith kind of tipped Biggie off about the song coming out.
Well, that's what we believe, man, because, you know, when they came out with the Get Money remix, they had the same beat, and we had did, you know, our version of Hit 'Em Up to that Don't Look Any Further sample. We had did it already. Pac had played it for Faith, And then, you know, a month or so later, we hear the Get Money remix, and it's or was it the Players Anthem remix? It might have been a Players Anthem remix. That big sample, Don't Look Any Further. I want to make sure I'm correct. So when we heard it, we was like, oh shit. Faith probably said something and tipped him off, and Big, you know, we thought it was a shrewd move, like, oh shit, you know what I mean? He came out with it first. But years later, I think I seen an interview with C's was like, nah, we had already did that. We didn't know anything about Hit 'Em Up.
Tupac, would he have played Hit 'Em Up for Faith?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Did he? Do you know that he did?
I wasn't there if he did. I wasn't there, you know what I mean? I never was present when him and Faith interacted. So I don't know if he played it for or not, you know what I mean? But I do know when we heard their version, we was like, yo, Faith must have said something. So
gotcha.
Apparently it did happen.
So you didn't see Faith at all in the studio or around Tupac at all?
Nah, not at that time. We weren't at the studio at that time. But there were other members, you know what I'm saying? Like people like Big Shike, you know what I'm saying? They was around. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay. And you know, this record comes out, man. It's crazy. You know, it's huge. What was your guys' reaction, you know, when it came out, and you know, all the controversy and everything that it stirred up?
Shit, we was like, let's go. You know what I mean? Because you got to understand, at that point, we had been waiting in the wings, so to speak, putting in our work as a collective, as a group, you know what I mean? Getting it right, putting it together, coming up with the right name, you know what I'm saying? Trying to really establish ourselves outside of Tupac. And so this was the record that was going to do that. It came out, the response was phenomenal. You know what I mean? Everybody on that record shined. So, you know, we was excited. Let's go. You know what I mean? But then it got banned, and BET wouldn't show the video, and radio stations wouldn't play it, and you know what I mean? But the streets was definitely lit up.
Streets were definitely lit up. I remember. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. At least over here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody was fucking with it, man. I didn't know that the video got banned. You know, because I never seen the video till like years later when it leaked on the internet. Yeah. You know. And you guys performed at the House of Blues. Mm-hmm. Which is, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, pretty a popular thing, man. What was that like?
Shit, man, for me, it's kind of a blur because I was sick as a dog that day. I had like a summer flu. My temperature was like 102, 103. You know what I mean? And I really just wanted to go somewhere and lay down. And, you know, a couple of the women that was in the family and on our team was just, you know, making sure I drank a lot of tea and honey and lemon because, you know what I mean, I wasn't gonna sit it out. It was the biggest show in LA at that moment. And so I was just like, I gotta fucking thug it out. Drink some Hennessy. Let's go get it.
What was the crowd like during
it's
that
insane.
night?
Pandemonium. You know what I'm saying? It's Pac and Snoop at the height, you know what I'm saying, of their power at that time. You know what I'm saying? It's Death Row Records. So it was pandemonium, sold out. No room in that motherfucker. It was like really, you know, epic.
What's up? This is Cam Capone. We got more content like this coming soon. So hit that like button, subscribe, and stay locked in to Cam Capone News.